You ever taken a photo in low light, looked at it again later, and it was grainy, gross, and noisy? Well, it's not your camera. It's something called noise. And today I'm going to share with you what causes it and 3 ways to stop it. So your photos can look clean and sharp no matter what camera you're using or your experience level. Let's dive in. Let's start with the basics. What even is noise? Noise is that speckly, grainy texture that you see in your photos, especially when you're shooting in dark conditions. It's not just a bad camera thing. Even the pro or higher budget level cameras get noise. This is the easiest way to think about it. Imagine a person in a dark room trying to read a book. They can make out the letters, but they're kind of guessing a lot, so the results come out messy. That's noise. Now here's where things get interesting. Most people blame a high ISO for noise. And yes, ISO plays a role, but it's not the villain that everybody thinks it is. The real problem is a lack of light hitting your sensor. ISO doesn't create noise, it amplifies the signal, the light, that your sensor already captured. And if that signal is weak, guess what? You're also amplifying the static. It's like turning up the volume on a bad recording. Yes, the volume's gonna get louder, but so is the static. That's noise in your photo. Your camera's not a flashlight. It can't add light to the scene. It can only work with the light you give it. So to recap, noise shows up when there's not enough light. And when you boost your ISO or brighten the image later, like up the exposure in post later on, you're boosting both the good stuff and the bad stuff. All right, now that we know what causes noise, let's talk about how to reduce it. I've got 3 main tricks and a little bonus that I'll share with you at the end that makes a big difference. The first trick may seem obvious, but there's a lot more to it. And that is simply to get more light into your camera. More light equals stronger signal equals cleaner photos. Now, how do we get more light into our camera? 3 ways. The first way is to slow down your shutter speed. Slower shutter speed, more light hitting your sensor. Think of it like curtains opening and closing. So if you shoot something at 1/1000th of a second, boom, boom, you're opening and closing that curtain super fast. If you're using a super slow shutter speed, and you're leaving that curtain open for 1 second, you're letting 1 whole second of light in, boom, before those curtains shut. You're leaving the curtain open for 1 second, letting 1 second of light come in before you close the curtains shut. Close your curtain shut. So basically 1/1000th of a second, open, close really, really fast, only 1/1000th of a second of light hitting your sensor. 1 whole second, you're leaving the curtain open for 1 whole second. That's 1 whole second of light getting in before you shut the curtain. But we can't shoot out everything with such a slow shutter speed because then we risk motion blur. You can't shoot a bird at, I mean, good luck, you can try, but shooting a bird with a slow shutter speed of just 1 versus 1/1000, you're gonna go home with just non-stop blurry photos of birds. So it's a bit of a trade-off there. You gotta try and find the balance, and that's where these other 2 tips come in. So the other way you can allow more light to hit your sensor is with aperture. A lower f number lets more light in. So if you ever looked online and you've seen that a lens is like 1.2 or a big telephoto lens is at 2.8 or at f4, yeah, that's because it's letting more light in. And like I said before, more light, cleaner photo. That's why you got a bigger price tag with those f-stop numbers, is because it's allowing more light and cleaner photos with whatever lens that you're using. So that one's just an easy one. And another way to get more light into your camera is just by the natural light. The sun, whatever you got. So an example of this is taking an overcast day versus a clear, sunny morning with golden hour glowing light. Which light source do you think is better? Very much the one with more light, where the light isn't actually covered. I still like shooting on overcast days, and I actually got a video on how to do that right up here for you. But if we're talking about reducing ISO, more light, the better. Overcast, our light source is covered up by clouds. But on a nice clear morning where the sun is rising, that's great light. That's gonna be great, and our sensors are gonna be happy, and our photos are gonna be clean. Tip number 2 is more of a technique, and it's called expose to the right. It sounds fancy, but all it is just using your histogram properly. Now I know, the histogram is scary. I'm still scared of it. It's intimidating, it's a graph. We don't like math, I don't like math. All you gotta know when you look at the histogram, do you see the right side? Okay, ignore everything else. You know, this is a beginner, this is for beginners. Again, don't be intimidated, don't leave. Stay here, stay with me. It's gonna be okay. When it comes to the histogram, all exposed to the right means is when you're looking at it, look at the right side. If the graph at any point touches that far right side, it means that your highlights or the whites are blown out. They're ruined. You can't bring them back. So exposing to the right just means when you're looking at that graph, when you're looking at your photo, as long as nothing on that graph is touching the right, you're going to be okay. And the closer to the right you can get it without touching, even better. That's all you want. That's all you got to know. Get that graph when you're shooting as far to the right as you can without touching that far right side, and you're perfect. You are all set. And I'm going to go into why that's a good thing. So the main reason it's a good thing is because even if your ISO is low, if you underexpose your shot and then brighten it back up later in Lightroom, you're inviting noise back into it. You're actually enhancing the noise. Whereas if you properly expose your image in camera, exposing to the right as far to the right as you can get it without clipping it, it's going to be a way cleaner looking photo. The moment it's in Lightroom and you underexpose it because you think, and I've done this so many times, you're thinking, oh, ISO low, ISO low, ISO low. And then you underexpose your image and you make it very dark. I actually did this in New Zealand, and I've talked about this in another video. I forget which video it was, but I'll put it up here for you where I talk a lot about this shot. And it was of a fiordland crested penguin in New Zealand, my only shot to get it, and I underexposed it because it was so dark that day. I was shooting it late in the evening, it was an overcast day, and I thought, oh, I'll just underexpose, try and get it as sharp as I can, and that's not what I should have done. I should have tried to expose it as best as I could, exposed to the right, because what happened was I took it so dark that when I brought it back in post, and I brought it into Lightroom and I tried to enhance it. I tried to bring everything back. I tried to bring up the exposure. Look at it. Look at it. It is the grainiest, noisiest thing ever. And if I would have properly exposed it when I shot, if I would have exposed to the right, it would have been way better, way easier to edit. And I probably would have came home with shots that I was happy with. But instead, I was not. Even though I tried to keep my ISO as low as possible, I should have been better off to expose it better to the right and then use denoise. But now I've just amplified the noise so much, I've kind of ruined those shots. But live and learn. Let's move on. And tip number 3 is to use noise reduction software, but don't overdo it. Lightroom Classic has a great noise reduction slider, and I use it all the time. But the slider goes from 0 to 100, and I've played around with it a little bit, and I find that 30 is the sweet spot. It's just enough to clean things up, but it doesn't go over the top where your photo starts to get this overcooked look. I call it the overcooked look. It's been in the denoise oven for too long, and it's come out with this plastic, soft looking look to it. And I'm not a fan of it. So I found that 30 is the sweet spot. If you use denoise software, let me know, where do you think the sweet spot is with the denoise that you use? Am I wrong here? Do you like to blast it? Do you not go as much? Do you not use it at all? Let me know in the comments. So those are my 3 main tips, but now I'm gonna share with you a little bonus. And this is something that I like to do when I edit in Lightroom Classic. When it comes to noise in our images, especially when we're editing, sometimes our subjects can look okay, but our backgrounds can look a little grainy, a little bit too noisy. And if you don't want to dive right into using denoise software, this is something that can help. And what you can do this 2 ways. You can either highlight the subject and then invert it, or you can just try to select the background in the masking tab. Now, once you have the background selected to the best of your ability, well, all you're gonna do is you're gonna decrease the clarity and decrease the textures. Play around, see where you like it, and see if that helps at all reduce that noise. I find it does, and it can actually help you get more of a creamy looking background without buying a really expensive lens. It's kind of a win-win. Give it a try. Well, folks, that's all I got for you here today. You can get my free bird photography settings cheat sheet link down there in the description below, and goodbye.